Can you do it? Can you walk me through this? Can you walk me through the steps? Okay, so my hint to you is just we're going to get our calculators out. And we're going to, okay, so here's my hint. We're starting right here. Yes. Okay. So what should we do? Yes. So we start off. Yes, they're back. The extras are back there. They should be sitting on the far right corner of the desk. I think they're sitting on top. Are they there on top? That big stack? Yeah, perfect. Okay. So we're going to take the function, and what are we going to do with it so that we can find the zeros of the graph or find the x-intercepts of the graph? What do? We what? We graph it. Okay, so I've got 5x to the third minus 17x squared plus 9x minus 9. I got it all typed in. Then I hit the graph button. Oh no. Do I have to worry about changing the window so I can see the whole thing? No. Okay. I don't need to see the whole thing. I only need to see where it crosses the x-axis. Am I worried about decimals today? Should there be any decimals with my x-intercepts? No, these should be whole numbers, okay? It is possible in some crazy advanced math class that they would do something with decimals, but for us, for this type of lesson, for us, they're going to be whole numbers, maybe a nice fraction like a 1/2, maybe like a 5.5, something nice, but for the most part, we're going to deal with whole numbers. So what whole number does that x-intercept look like? 3? Looks like 3. Okay, so I'm just going to verify that it's 3. And I can do that by going to my menu. Anyone remember how we get to our menu? Where's our menu that has all the different things we can find? Second trace. So I go second trace, and I'm going to do option number 1, which lets me plug in any number I want to plug in. And I'm going to plug in 3, and I'm going to make sure if I plug in 3 that the output is 0. Because if the output is 0, then I actually found an x-intercept. So I always do this just to make sure that I actually found it correctly. Make sure I have no typos and stuff like that. Okay, so I plugged in 3. I actually found an x-intercept, so I know that I got that part right. So I'm going to go ahead and write this. X equals 3. Now, based on the original problem, how many answers should I have? Can anyone tell? 3. Okay, so based on this, I should have 3 answers. Okay, so I found x equals 3. That's one real answer. So how many fake answers am I going to get? 2. And I'm going to get those when I do my division, and I get a quadratic, and I do the quadratic formula. Okay, so I got one real answer. I'm about to find the 2 complex answers or the 2 fake answers. Okay, so guaranteed after this, I'm going to get answers with I in them. Okay, all right, so what do I do now? So you divide it by, we're going to divide it by x minus 3. So you can do polynomial long division if you want. If you are a long division person, that's fine. And you would do your division by x minus 3. Or you can do synthetic division, and you can put 3 in the little box. What would you guys like to do? Synthetic? Long division? We can do whichever. What do you guys want to do? Synthetic division or long division? You want to do long division? I mean, we can do that because I think the video last night had synthetic division. We could do long division. It's not a bad idea. Okay, so if we did long division, if you are like, Ms. Rice, I feel salty about this. then you can ignore us doing long division. You can do synthetic division. You can just make sure you get the same answer. How's that? Okay, so we can do long division, and then other people can do synthetic. So we're going to do 5x to the third minus 17x squared plus 9x minus 9, and we'll divide it by x minus 3. So if x equals 3 is the x-intercept, then x minus 3 is the factor. Okay, so what's the first question we ask ourselves in long division? We say, yeah, x times what is 5x to the third, and what would you get? 5x squared. So now I'm going to take the 5x squared, I'm going to multiply it by both of these, and I'll line it up underneath. So 5x squared times x is 5x to the third. 5x squared times negative 3 is negative 15 x squared. I draw the line, change both of my signs. So that zeroes out. That becomes negative 2x squared. We drop down the positive 9x. Okay, so now what do I do? And what is it? Negative 2x. Okay, x times negative 2x is negative 2x squared. Negative 3 times negative 2x is positive 6x. I draw the line, I change the sign, 0, positive 3x minus 9. And then what do I get next? 3, positive 3. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Draw the line, change the signs, 0, 0. And that makes sense, right? No remainder, because why? It's a factor. It's an x-intercept, which means it's also a factor. Okay, so there should be no remainder. Okay, so our answer is 5x squared minus 2x plus 3. Is that the same thing that you guys got, synthetic division people? Same thing? Okay, so now that we have our quadratic, what do we do with that? Quadratic formula. So I'm going to say this is going to equal 0, and I'm going to do the quadratic formula with it. So my quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. Okay. So what should I start writing? Okay. So we have the negative b is negative of negative 2, that's a positive 2. And the 2a is 2 times 5, so that's 10. And then we just have to figure out what our discriminant is. So we have negative 2 squared minus 4 times a times c. I'm making sure to put the negative 2 in parentheses before I square it so I don't kill a baby otter. I don't like to kill those because they're cute, you know. When they're like in a little water, they hold hands, which is, you know, appropriate for Valentine's Day. Okay. So what'd you guys get for your discriminant? Negative 56. And it should be a negative because we're finding imaginary answers. So we should not get a positive for this if we did not see those answers when we graphed it. This should be a negative because these are imaginary. So negative 56. And when we see that negative there, what do we do to fix that answer? Yeah, we're going to make this positive and stick an I right in front. Now, if we were in Math 2, we would simplify that radical, but we're not in Math 2, we're in Math 3, so we put a box around it, we call it good. Okay, so we have two answers from this, the plus version, the minus version, and then we have the 3. So we have 3 answers, okay? So 1, 2, 3. If you want to, you can go up and put these 2 answers with the 3 so that you can see that you have 3 answers. So 2 plus I root 56 over 10. 2 minus I root 56 over 10. And then you can see you got 3 answers. If you want to do that, you can. All right. How are your brains feeling? Brains feeling pretty good? Okay, so for today's assignment, I got you coloring The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, aka Will Smith. Thank you for knowing that. Okay, so we've got 10 problems. Now, if you look at these answer choices, some of them have square roots that when you did the quadratic formula, you could simplify it all the way down to a number. Like it simplified all the way down. So that meant there was perfect squares, there were things that could be divided, it could like go all the way down. And then other ones where the square root could not be simplified, it was not a perfect square, it just had to be left alone. And then we've got some problems where if you look at like this answer for I, do you see how there's, for the letter I for that answer, see how all those numbers are real numbers? That means when you graph it, you're going to see only real answers. That means as soon as you start the problem and graph it, you're done with the problem. You're going to graph it and be like, oh, it says it's x to the third. It's a degree of 3 when I start the problem, and there are 3 x-intercepts, and I find the 3 x-intercepts, and then I'm done. There's no work to show. I find the 3 x-intercepts graphically. They're only real x-intercepts, and that's the whole problem. Does that make sense? So that would be like if we were doing this problem, and right away we found 3 x-intercepts. We would know that we're done because there's only 3 possible answers. Does that make sense? Okay, so that is possible in this assignment. It happens more than once. In fact, you can see it happens for answer I, it happens for answer J. So be on the lookout for problems like those. I threw a couple in where there's no imaginary answers, they're just all real. Okay, so 10 questions. You can color if you want, you don't have to if you're a lame-o. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hand this out and let you guys get started. Any questions? We do have a quiz tomorrow. It's basically a division quiz because so far what we've done is long division, synthetic division, and then some more synthetic division, and then today some more synthetic division. So that's basically what the quiz is. Okay? All right.